Hello crafters and welcome back to the This Calls for Confetti YouTube channel. My name is Deepa from Designs by D and I'm so excited to share this fun Father's Day card with you today. It has a very generic sentiment, so it could be used for birthdays or anything else as well, but I figured Father's Day is on the way, so let's go ahead and create some inspiration for you guys. So these are all the products we're going to be using. I do have the Every Moment stamp and die set and the Moments in Time die set as well. I've got Elusive Prints Pattern Paper and also the Elongated Hello die set. So let's go ahead and look at this Elusive Prints paper because this is the first time I'm using it, but you've probably seen this before if you're more familiar with the TCFC products. There are so many backgrounds in this, and if you look at the size of this, it is humongous. So you could get like 2 cards out of each of these panels, and there's 2 of each of the 12 designs. Each of these panels are 5.5 by 8.5, and the cardstock is absolutely amazing. It has a good quality to it, and it has this really nice sheen. It has all of these beautiful forest scenes to it, which I thought would go really well with a Father's Day card. So we're going to use one of those scenes for today's card. I've gone ahead and set aside the print I want, and I'll bring that back in later. Right now what I'm doing is I'm attaching that rectangular frame to the oval that comes with this die set, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to cut out both of these frames using some light blue cardstock here. You can use whichever cardstock you like, which you think kind of goes with the print that you've chosen. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to do something that most people forget to do and add some texture with the embossing feature of these dies. Now, a lot of people have dies that have embossed lines on them. You'll notice that the frame here has that, and we kind of forget about how to enhance this and make it look good on our card. So I really want to use that as our first technique for adding texture for today's card. And what you want to do is use the right sandwich for this. So this is going to depend on your die cutting machine. I have the Spellbinders Platinum here, and it shows me on my plates exactly how to do my sandwich. I've got plate A, B. I put the die flat with the cardstock on top, and then I've got my rubber mat and the adapter plate, and you can see how this creates all of that gorgeous texture by embossing those lines in the frame, which looks really pretty. Now, this is a technique that a lot of dies have, and we always, as crafters, forget about it. So I'm here to remind you that that feature is there. If you wanted to add that type of texture, you always can because your dies are so multifaceted. You can use them in so many ways. So moving forward, I'm going to go ahead and find out the exact scene that I want to put in the frames that I have here. So I'm just kind of moving this along my pattern paper and picking the area that I want to use. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue this right on top of that paper. I'll go ahead and glue on the oval first, and then I'm going to cut out that oval kind of just around the edge, leaving a bit of an overhang because there you'll notice there is a space between that rectangle piece and the oval piece that's going to show this image through in between the 2 frames, and I don't want it to overhang off of the rectangle, so you could always just cut off over any overhanging bits once you glue down that rectangular piece. So now I've gone ahead and put these all down, and my background is pretty much ready to go, so I can start working on the other elements of my card now. Before I do, I am going to use a green piece of cardstock to create just a little bit of border around the edge. So I do cut off just a tiny little sliver from each of the sides of that rectangular frame. Moving on, I've got the Every Moment stamp set. I'm grabbing the stopwatch or the pocket watch there, and I've got some copper cardstock. This is like a matte shining copper cardstock. It's not fully shiny, so it's not going to kind of I chose the matte because I'm going to be doing embossing on it, and I wanted it to have a nice vintage look to it. So I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss the pocket watch onto this using some more copper colored embossing powder. I'll use my anti-static powder using the TCSC tool, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my image and heat emboss that powder to the cardstock here. Being careful because this is specialty cardstock, I'm going to be very careful with my heating. I'm going to make sure to move the tool around so that nothing kind of melts or warps. And my next step is going to be to do the exact same thing, except this time I'm just going to use some beige colored cardstock. The beige goes well with the vintage look, so I went ahead and grabbed that piece of cardstock. Again, heat embossing with the same embossing powder, and we're just creating a duplicate image. Now, the difference is going to come when we do our die cutting, because you might have seen in one of my past videos or in any of the videos from the other members of the team on the TCFC channel that you can use the circular die that comes in the not the every moment, the moments in time die set. There's like a smaller circle to cut out the face of the clock, and you can attach that face in a different color to the actual pocket watch face. And you could even use this face and mix and match it with the alarm clock that you have, or any of the, I don't know actually, it could be mixed with some of the other clocks as well. I'm not sure, it depends on the shape and size. So you can experiment with that too if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead now that I've got my copper colored pocket watch cut out, and I'm going to add some more details, some more texture in a different way. So you may not have seen this before. This is a completely new and like subtle way to add detail. Actually, it's not completely new. I mean, you knew that you could kind of use your scoring tools in order to create lines in cardstock, but now I'm actually using my stylus, and I am just kind of eyeballing it and kind of mapping out the circle around the edge of that pocket watch. I want to kind of create that beveled look when you have an actual watch. It has more dimension to it. I want the cardstock to kind of take on that dimension and show more of the watch, how it may look in real life. Now, I'm not going to get that perfect, right? But I can get a subtle version of that, which is what I'm doing here. So you'll notice it did kind of create like that line, that circular line where the clock would most likely be beveled in real life and have more of like a rounded edge to it. And then I'm just adding the clock face to this, just like flat with some tape runner here. And you can see that it's got like a nice look. And by adding that texture there, by using the stylus, it kind of crinkled the paper a little bit, which adds to that vintage look as well. So that was a look that I wasn't expecting, but I thought that it looked really well in the end. It came out well. Now the next step is to cut out some of these gears using the Moments in Time die set. I'm just cutting it out of some silver and some of that same copper cardstock that we used for the actual pocket watch. The silver is just an accent. I just feel it's this card has a cool tone to it because of that lighter blue, so the silver would work well to kind of tie that in. So I've cut all of those gears out, and I'm going to use some of those in the end around my pocket watch and my sentiment. So next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach that deeper green cardstock, which is just A2 size, just like my card base, A2 size side folding, and I'm going to attach that. And that bit of green just creates a small little border around the edge of the framed pattern paper that we have here. And I figured the green, it works well with the green that is in my picture as well. So I've got my pocket watch. I think I'm going to put it down here at the bottom right and kind of, as I mentioned, put these gears around it. I like to kind of map out what I'm doing as I go along. Sometimes I cut these scenes out of the video because it kind of takes up some time, but as I go along, I'm always kind of putting things where I think I'd like it to go on the final card to get like an overall look of what this is going to be in the end. I've picked one of the sentiments from the Every Moment stamp set. It's one of the longer ones, but it fits perfectly on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and use that same green color cardstock that I used in the background, and I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment on this using some white embossing powder now, so that that sentiment kind of stands out on the deeper green. I'll go ahead, I'll stamp this out and I'll heat emboss it, and then I have all of the dies from the Every Moment stamp set and the coordinating die set to stamp out all of those sentiments, which I think is always a game changer in products, craft sets. I always love to be able to get all of those sentiments out, and I love that we have the dies for every single sentiment in this set here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and now you'll see when I put this on my card, it ties in perfectly with that little frame that we have around the edge and just pulls everything together. It looks super duper nice. I'll put that right in the center there, and then I can go ahead and add my pocket watch. I am adding it with some foam adhesive to prop it up just a little bit. That's even more dimension. So we have the texture in the frame We have the texture on that watch with the beveling we created with our stylus. And then we've also got 3D foam squares, which add dimension as well. And all of this together, if you take all of those bits of texture along with the embossing, so keep in mind we also emboss the pocket watch and the clock face. So all of those, the heat embossing, the dry embossing, all of these elements just add tons of texture to your card, creates such a fun look in the end. And I really hope that that little tip with the embossing with your die cuts reminds you that you can do this with a lot of the dies that you probably have on hand already. So that's just another technique we tend to always forget. And I'm glad every now and then that I have someone to remind me or that I can remind you guys. So now that I've got everything on my card, I'm just adding the gears here and there to kind of create a bit of flow. There is a past video that I have on the TCFC channel if you wanted to check that out to see how you can use these gears or other elements to create flow within your card. I'm doing the exact same thing, placing those gears on either side of the pocket watch and then again on either side of the sentiment. And this is the final card that you end up with all of that beautiful texture and dimension. Now, even though our sentiment is generic, it is perfect for Father's Day, and I hope that this card has inspired you to create something similar yourself. Don't forget, everything we've used is linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again next time for some more fun techniques and card tips. Have a great day. Bye.